that if you want to have more money, you should get a better job. If that's true, why do we have over 78% of the people in the United States struggling financially? See, when you know the flow of things and how one thing affects another, there is a ripple effect that happens. So if I'm bugged or hurt by something, that feeling or thought inside me then comes out of me and it affects people. Then, because it's affecting people, it affects my ability to do what I need to do when I need to do it. And so it affects my time. I lose time. I lose time big time. I lose it. I don't have enough. I fall behind. And then because I am having difficulty with people, I am having difficulty with time, that then will ultimately cause a cost when it comes to money. And so what I do when I coach people is I know that I need, if I'm going to help them with their money issues, we're going to have to find what is also hurting them or bothering them on the inside. So yes, this is going to turn into some emotional management training here. Part of it. Okay, so I don't know if you struggle with time, but if you struggle with time, then struggling with money is very predictable. If you have relationships with people that are just always irritating, you're going to have issues with time, and it's going to make you have issues with money. So on a level of getting your life in order, sorry, this is kind of a side tangent of teaching, but I'm just going to help you with this. A side level of like getting your life in order is, I'm going to just say it, forgiving people, having mercy on people, having compassion on people, and forgiving yourself and giving yourself a million chances to do things right. Because when we hold feelings against ourselves or others, it causes difficulties with ourselves, between us and other people, between us and our management of time, and between us and our management and money. So if somebody's struggling and they're bugged and irritated on the inside, they're going to, and even if they have a nice house, let me just say this, people with nice houses don't have it easy. Just so you know, I know from personal experiences, and I know from talking to so many people, just because they have a big house doesn't mean that everything's easy. Those people have lots of struggles, lots of problems that they deal with. Just because they have a big house doesn't mean that they've got this all figured out. I know people who are very wealthy who are struggling with money. That doesn't make sense, but I'm not going to explain it. Okay. So what I know is that I need to help them remove the hurt on the inside and find out, all right, who bothers you? Who bugged you? What's under your skin? And why is this still under your skin? And if we can remove this from under your skin, then you'll find you'll have better connections with people. And because you have better connections with people, you'll want to show up on time. Because you have better connections with people, you'll want to show up on time. So then you are on time. And you will do things when you said. But if you're hurt and people bother you, not following your time and not being more honorable to your time is rebellion. You're actually rebelling against the clock because you're just mad about things. But yeah, you start to remove hurt and start to mend between you and other people. You'll want to show up. It's like, I'm on it. I just want to do this. You'll find yourself caring about time and watching time. Other people don't steal your time. It's because you're upset and hurt. That's why you rebel against time for yourself. Then you'll find you want to manage money and you want to pay attention to it. But why would you ever want to manage money if you just don't have the time anyway and people bug you? Because if there's hurt between you and another person, nothing else matters. When you have something between you and people that just really is sore, and it's sore being on time it's not really the thing. And having money and managing money, it's like, whatever. And so that's why I know that relationships really affect time management and money management. Okay, so this is just an awareness piece. This is awareness. I'm not saying tell this to your friend, but I'm going to give you the steps now. Okay, so you listen to your friend, you find out what they think and feel about money. Helps you know what version they might be on. Are they coming from a responsible level, or are they coming from a victim level? And so you're listening for responsible or victim based upon what they share with you about their money story. Now, it's like, okay, we've got to disassemble some of this because something's going on. Of course, give them the advice of how to take care of the money, be more attentive to it. And then this is what you do is you go, okay, now this is probably going to be too much to give them, but I want you to at least get a screenshot of this so you can get the flow of it. Get a screenshot of this. I'm not going to read this all to you, but this is a step-by-step process to diffuse the emotions that are connected to money that are past experiences. This is a emotional diffusion process. So there's 6 steps. Step number 7 is not really a step. It's just this is what you do next. But to get a screenshot of this, this is about finding the bad stories you have in you about money, writing down the detail of that story, expressing how you felt, what you thought, what you did, what you didn't do, what did they do, explicit details about the story that was a bad story about you and money and another person. So it's going to stir up all these feelings, right? It's going to stir them all up. But what's happening is you're actually getting all the details out of you so you can express how you felt and what you think and what happened. You need to get this out of you and find some closure to it. Because a bad story about you and money and other people not addressed is just a unhealed sore inside of you that's infected. So usually what we do is we blame other people for what happened in the story, but we need to find in the story what we can be responsible for. Because this story happened in the past. And back then it happened to you. And there was a particular type of perception you had at that moment. But to address that story now, you'll have a different perception. You're a lot more wiser, a lot older, a lot smarter. And we need to take your current wisdom and awareness and apply it to that version 1.0 story that's inside of you. And so step 5 is finding out, okay, well, what can I own about this that happened back then? And then let me see if I put that one in here where you response for the story. Okay, and I'm going to add one more. I was looking at this to update this. Okay, so then I'm going to put this right here. And then what can I learn from this past What can I learn from this past experience that can help me today? Learning from our past changes the way we see the past, and it upgrades us. When we reflect on the past and we find wisdom from the past, it moves us from version 1.0, where we were victims, to version 2.0, because now we are learning from our past instead of we are a victim of the past. We're now learning from the past. Now it's the same story, but it's a different perception of this and different perspective of this because we're looking back on the story. And so part of upgrading your story or your friend's story is the new way we can look at it. Because if we look at it from our current wisdom, we will look at it in a much more mature way. And so we now can take that bad experience and have it be something that we actually can gain a lesson from or learn from, which makes us wiser. And so now that story that used to hurt us, let me go to our hurt screen here. Where's that? Right there. That if I can remove the hurt from that bad experience, that comes off. I then will have less hurt towards people. That will come down, which then I'll be less rebellious and fighting against the clock, which then I'll be more attentive to money. And that's because I'm removing the hurt from a bad experience, which is going to help me patch up the way I interact with all of these different levels of life. And so what we're doing here is you're actually helping your friend, and this could happen over lunchtime. You could say, hey, I know you're struggling with money. Did you have something happen in your past where there was some difficulties with money growing up? Did somebody steal your money? Did somebody take your money? Did you lose your money? Did you not get paid money? And if they're like, oh yeah, I've had those things happen. What happened? You could right there at lunchtime, walk them through some bad experiences they had with money and help them look at the story now from this new perspective of going, hey, looking back, what could you learn about yourself now looking back at this? And in that moment, while you're sitting there at lunch with your friend, realizing your friend has some money problems, you are upgrading their thoughts about themselves and upgrading their thoughts they have about money and their experience with money. That right there is going to benefit them because you're helping them remove the hurt from the past, the hurt on the money, and the hurt between other people, which ultimately you're actually going to help them be better at time management. That's just like a side benefit. That's just going to happen. But you're helping them change the way they think, which we need to add some more positive ways we see money. Even if they're little positives, we need to be adding this so that it becomes something that they care about and something that they want to be a better steward over. That's what we want to do, is we want to help change their thinking and reduce these stories that have happened. The more we can take off these old perceptions, version 1.0, and we can introduce a better way of looking at this, they will start to interact with money in a more mature way. But that's not going to happen unless we help them disassemble what has happened to them. And this has happened to everybody. Everybody has had bad money experiences where they didn't get paid enough, they didn't get paid at all, they lost money, they were stolen. All these different kind of experiences, they all happened. But we get to reconcile our experiences with money so that our perception of money can change.